So it's time to let go of worry. Stop trying to piece everything together with your own limited understanding. Stop draining your strength on questions filled with uncertainty. Put your trust in the one who has already carved a path ahead of you. When we dwell in worry, we surrender to fear, to hesitation, and to the lies that whisper we're not enough. That's how the enemy gains a foothold. That's when we start to forget what's true. But God is sovereign always, and his hand is over every detail. The doors before you aren't there by mistake. They have been placed there by divine intention. You might not comprehend why you're walking through certain seasons, but I promise you, God has a divine reason. He has a plan that surpasses human reasoning. His perspective is higher than ours. His thoughts stretch further than our own, and he has not lost sight of the door meant for you. In the book of Matthew, Jesus says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Matthew 7:7. Do you believe that? Do you really believe that the door will open when you knock? God's promises aren't just poetic phrases. His word is truth, and that truth has the power to free you. Stop doubting him. Stop second-guessing the direction he's pointing you toward. When God says he will make a way, he will. But let's be honest. Sometimes, even when you're walking faithfully, even when you're aligned with God's will, the door may remain shut a little longer than expected. Sometimes the door you've been praying for is not the one God intended for you to walk through. And that's when the enemy begins to whisper. That's when he'll try to convince you that your prayers are unheard, that your suffering is unseen, that your heart's cry doesn't matter to God. But then I'm here to remind you today, God is moving even when it's not obvious. He is arranging every detail for your good, even when your eyes can't see it, even when every door appears to be closed. Trust that God's hand is still in motion. Some of you are standing in front of doors right now that seem immovable. You've been knocking persistently, lifting up prayers, clinging to hope for a breakthrough, but nothing has opened. And in that season of silence, doubt begins to whisper. You start questioning whether it will ever come to pass. You begin to wonder if you've somehow missed your chance, if you made a mistake along the way, if perhaps you've fallen out of God's grace. But let me reassure you today, God's timing is flawless. His plans are not shaped by our logic, and his schedule does not match ours. When God swings open a door, no one has the power to close it. And when he shuts a door, no one can force it open. Are you hearing me? Do you believe what I'm saying? God sees what is truly good for you. He knows the longings deep within your heart, and he will never place in your hand something that wasn't meant for you. If a door remains closed, it's because God is preserving something far greater. If an opportunity has slipped away, it's because he is shielding you from harm that you cannot yet see. We often lift up prayers for things that seem perfect in our eyes, but God has the advantage of seeing the complete picture. He knows the outcome from the start. He understands what will bring lasting joy, deep peace, and true fulfillment. And when the moment is right, he will unlock the door that was destined for you. This is your call to surrender. This is your invitation to release your fear, your worry, and your tight grip on control. The reality is, many of us cling so fiercely to the doors we believe should open that we miss the ones God is already forming ahead of us. I know trusting isn't easy. I know waiting feels like a battle. But let me tell you this. God has set aside a door with your name written on it, and in his perfect time, that door will swing wide open. Scripture tells us in Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Take note of those words. Delight yourself in the Lord. When your life is anchored in pursuing God's heart, when you are walking in surrender and obedience, he will place his desires within you. But understand this, it's not about persuading God to fulfill your personal wishes. It's about shaping your heart to match his. It's about believing that he truly knows what's best. When you lay your wants at his feet, he will give you what is right for you, what brings peace, what brings joy, what truly satisfies your soul. Never forget, God's timing will never mirror ours. The door you've been waiting on may not open according to your timeline, but let me assure you, God is never behind schedule. He shows up exactly when it's needed. And when that door finally opens, you'll have no doubt in your heart that it was God who made it possible. You'll look back and recognize how he moved in your journey, how he steered your steps, how he shielded you from harm, and you'll give him all the praise. Some of you are standing before closed doors right now, and discouragement is beginning to settle in. You feel like you've knocked repeatedly, lifted your prayers, clung to hope, and yet the door stays shut. But I want to urge you, don't lose heart. Keep knocking, keep pressing forward, keep seeking God's face. He's a faithful God, and he will not leave you abandoned. Believe that he is at work behind the scenes. Believe that his timing is flawless, and he is unlocking the right door in the right season. There's a powerful example in Scripture involving the Apostle Paul. Paul was a man of deep conviction, fearless in preaching the message of Christ, and yet even he encountered obstacles and barriers. In Acts 16:7, Paul and his companions attempted to enter a certain region to share the gospel, but the Holy Spirit prevented them from going forward. The way was blocked, but they didn't lose faith. They didn't stop pursuing God's direction. They remained open to his guidance. And in due time, God opened a new path, the way to Macedonia, where their ministry bore great fruit. Souls were saved and lives were changed. That closed door was not a rejection, it was a redirection. Often God will shut one door to steer us towards something greater, and we may not always grasp the reasoning behind it. But one thing we can always count on is this: God sees the full picture. He knows what's best. He knows exactly which door has been assigned to your life, and he will lead you to it in the fullness of his time. As you stand before the choices and challenges of life, remember this: God is right there with you. He is directing your steps. He is preparing access for you that no human hand can block. So release your anxiety. Let go of the urge to control every detail. Trust that the God who formed you also fashioned the path for you to walk. Trust that his blueprint for your life is good, a plan designed to bless you, not to bring harm. A future full of hope and divine purpose. And when that moment comes, when the door finally opens, you step through it with boldness, fully aware that it was God who opened the way. So I encourage you today, lean into trust. Trust in his timing, trust in his wisdom, trust that he sees the road ahead even when he knows your door, and at the appointed time he will open it. Keep your gaze fixed on him. Keep your faith anchored in him, and know without a doubt that he will lead you exactly where you're meant to go. Are you carrying the heavy burden of worry right now? I know many of you are. I know there are hearts here filled with questions and concerns. You're standing in front of that door longing for it to open, pleading in prayer, but it still seems locked and unmoved. You've journeyed this path for what feels like forever, and now you're exhausted, worn down from knocking without an answer. You've stayed committed, haven't you? You've held on to your faith in God. You've done all that you believed was right, yet the door hasn't shifted. But let me ask you this. Have you considered why the door might still be shut? Could it be that God in his mercy is shielding you from something you're not yet aware of? Could it be that in his divine wisdom he is holding back what you want because he's preparing something greater, something far better than what you've asked for? Too often we view the unopened doors in our lives as roadblocks, as signs of defeat, or as proof that God has turned away. But hear this clearly. A closed door is not rejection. It is a holy redirection. God sees what we cannot. He knows the entire journey from start to finish, and he's guiding you every step of the way. Just like a caring father won't hand his child something harmful, God won't place in your life what's not meant for your good. And it's in those moments when the way forward seems sealed off that God is inviting you to trust him on a deeper level. He's calling you to lay aside your timetable, to release the grip of control, and to rely completely on his greater understanding. God already knows which door has your name on it. And long before you even began this journey, he was preparing that door just for you. Let me tell you, there are seasons when we are convinced we know exactly what we need. We've charted every step. We've built plans around one specific opportunity. We've given our hearts to a particular door. But God and I, he knows us through and through. He sees the difference between what we want and what will truly bring life. Sometimes the door you're pleading for is not the one God intends for you. In his boundless wisdom and love, he withholds it, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because he sees what's waiting on the other side, and he knows it won't fulfill you like you think it will. He knows that something far greater is waiting just beyond the next turn. The enemy will seize those delays to plant seeds of doubt. He'll whisper lies that God has overlooked you, that your prayers have fallen on deaf ears, that you've been left alone in your struggle. But don't believe it. That is the voice of the adversary, the one who hopes you'll stop believing, who wants you to quit praying, who tempts you to walk away. And I must warn you, if you stop knocking, if you stop seeking, if you let doubt take root in your heart, you may miss the very door that God has been carefully preparing just for you. Faith is not something passive, my friend. True faith takes action. It presses forward. It keeps knocking even when everything in you wants to quit. It keeps trusting when the path ahead is hidden. It keeps believing when your surroundings scream that it's over. Faith doesn't back away when a door stays shut. It knocks again, harder. It searches deeper. It believes with even greater strength. You may not see it just yet, but beyond that closed door is a promise with your name on it. And your Heavenly Father is fully committed to guiding you through it when the time is right. But in the meantime, he's calling you to trust him during the wait. He's asking you to believe that his timing exceeds anything you could plan. I know many of you are questioning why this waiting is even necessary. I understand the ache of waiting. It's painful, isn't it? It's not easy to remain in that space of uncertainty when the future looks clouded and unsettled. But don't forget, God never rushes. We live in a fast-paced world where instant answers and immediate results are expected. We want breakthroughs now. We want prayers answered today and doors to open without delay. But God is not bound by our schedules. He operates on a divine timeline. And his perfect timing produces outcomes beyond what we imagine. The delay is not a punishment. The delay is part of the preparation. Think about it. When God called Moses to deliver his people from Egypt, no, he spent 4 decades in the wilderness, 40 years of being refined, 40 years of waiting, being shaped and taught by God. And when the time finally arrived, when Moses had been made ready, the door opened. Moses had no idea during those years that such a door was coming, but God did. God was present in every moment, and when the right moment came, Moses stepped into purpose. He was equipped. He was ready. And the Israelites walked into freedom. Some of you feel like you're in your own wilderness right now. You feel lost, uncertain about what's coming, unsure whether the door you're waiting for will ever open. But I want to remind you, your wilderness is not wasted. It is the very place where God is preparing you for what's next. Don't try to escape the process. Don't rush through it so quickly that you miss the lessons God is trying to show you. Developer, in this season, God is developing you, strengthening your faith, refining your character. The doors you've been praying for won't just appear out of thin air. They will open when the moment is right and when you're ready to walk through them with boldness. And hear this truth today. There is no door too impossible for God to open. No obstacle is too big. No chain too heavy. No wall too tall. God holds the master key. He alone opens doors no one else can open and closes the ones no one else can shut. He is sovereign. He is in control. And he is faithful. Revelation 3, 7, and 8 declares, what he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open. Do you truly believe that? Do you believe that God has the power to open doors that no one can close, and to close doors that no one can force open? If your answer is yes, then you can rest confidently knowing that when the timing is right, the door designed for you will not remain closed. But until that day comes, don't let your thoughts be consumed by worry. Don't drain your strength fretting over what hasn't yet happened. Have faith that the one who holds the keys is already at work in your favor. Trust that he is arranging the right moment, the right opening, the right opportunity that aligns perfectly with his plan. And when that door finally swings open, you'll have no doubt that it was God who made it happen. You'll realize that the waiting was not wasted. It was preparation. So here is my challenge to you today, dear friends. Let go of worry. Release the doubt. Cast off the fear. The same God who knows your path, the same God who knows the door assigned to you is trustworthy. He will not fail you. That door will open in his perfect timing. And when it does, you will walk through with boldness, rooted in the certainty that God is with you, directing your every step. Until that moment, keep knocking in faith. Keep trusting in his plan. The door meant for you will not remain shut forever. God is faithful. He is faithful to provide the opening. He is faithful to take you exactly where he intends you to go. And he is faithful to bring you through the door he's chosen for you right when you are ready. Hold on to your confidence in him. Stand firm in your faith. And leave the worry behind. Because the Lord already knows which door belongs to you. There is strength in knowing that God alone holds the key. And I want you to take this to heart. The key to your breakthrough doesn't lie in your own hands. It rests in the hands of the Almighty. If you've been trying to unlock it on your own and nothing has moved, that's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that God is showing you something deeper. He's inviting you to place your trust in him at a deeper level. He's asking you to release the illusion of control and embrace the powerful reality that he is in charge of it all. When we try to force doors open that God has kept closed, we not only wear ourselves down, we risk stepping outside of his perfect will. Because the door God opens is always the right one. It's the one that leads you into his divine calling, into the future he has already written for you. That's why we must lay aside every anxious thought. To worry is to question God's timing. To worry is to doubt his strength and wisdom. But we know better, don't we? We know our God is able. He can do far more than we could ever ask, think, or imagine. When you examine the circumstances of your life, what do you perceive? Do you see roadblocks, disappointments, and doors that won't open? Or do you see space for God to step in and reveal his power? Some of the most powerful moves of God happen when we come to the end of ourselves, when all strength is gone and all we can do is trust in silence. When we stand in front of what looks like an impossible wall and choose to believe in the quiet, that's when God shows up. My friends, he is not far. He is never out of reach. In fact, he is closer than you realize, closer than your heartbeat, closer than your next breath, and he is ready to act on your behalf. If you would let go of worry, if you would truly release control, if you would stop trying to make things happen in your timing, then you would begin to witness doors opening before your eyes. There is a truth you must embrace today. The door that belongs to you is more than just an option. It is a divine arrangement. When God opens a door, he is calling you into something far beyond your own imagination. Don't chase after the doors you can open with your own effort. Don't settle for the paths that look easy or offer instant results. You weren't created for simple things. You were created for divine purpose. And that kind of purpose takes waiting. It takes trusting God's way. You might not see it now, but the doors God is shaping for you are filled with favor, filled with blessing, and they lead straight into your destiny. Think back over your life. Have you ever noticed that some of your greatest blessings came only after a season of delay? Reflect on that. Many of the most valuable gifts God has placed in your hands were not the ones you expected, nor the ones you pleaded for. They came after he closed doors you once thought were for you. And now with hindsight, you see clearly those closed doors weren't rejection, they were protection. They didn't come to harm you, they came to shelter you from things that could have broken you. I believe there are some of you standing right now at the edge of a brand new chapter, yet fear is holding you still. You're hesitant because the unknown feels overwhelming. You're anxious about what might be on the other side. The uncertainty has taken hold of your heart. But let this truth settle deep within you. The fear of the unknown is never greater than the power of the one who holds the key to your future. God is not asking you to figure out what's coming. He is simply asking you to trust that He already knows. He sees every step, every outcome, every door, and He will never lead you into something He hasn't already prepared for. If God is opening that door, you can step forward with courage because He has already gone ahead of you. There will come a point in your life where you find yourself face to face with what feels like an impossible obstacle, and you'll begin to wonder how you'll ever make it through. Let me remind you, God is never caught off guard by your situation. He has already gone before you and laid the foundation. You may be walking through a difficult season right now, but that hardship is not the end of your journey. It's simply a chapter. And when the door finally opens, the next chapter will overflow with blessings you never imagined. Now listen closely. Some of you are standing at the threshold of that door, and it feels like you've been waiting there forever. Perhaps you've been crying out for a breakthrough for years. You've been calling on God for a miracle, asking Him to open the door, and yet it seems like nothing is changing. But let me share a truth with you that may not be easy to accept. Sometimes the reason the door hasn't opened is because God is using this season to get you ready for what's on the other side. You see, the blessing isn't just in the open door, it's in the process. God wants to ensure that when the door opens, you'll be prepared to step into it and carry the fullness of His favor. Don't try to rush through the process. Don't resent the waiting. Know that God is shaping you. He's growing your endurance. He's deepening your trust. He's building your faith so that when the moment comes, you'll be able to enter into the new season with strength and confidence. The greatest victories are not won during moments of comfort. They are forged in the waiting. They are forged in the seasons of uncertainty, when you have no clue if the door will ever open. And when it finally does, your story will be a testimony, a declaration of God's faithfulness, His perfect timing, and His sovereign plan. There's a miracle in the waiting. And if you choose to trust God in this season, He will bless you beyond anything you imagined. Don't let fear steal your peace. Don't let anxiety rob you of the quiet joy that comes from knowing God holds the key. Every door that opens in your life is a reflection of His goodness. And when you walk through that door, you will know without question, it was God who opened it. It was God who created a way where there was none. And all the glory will belong to Him. So release the worry, let go of the doubt, and rest in the truth that God knows which door is yours, and He will unlock it at the exact moment it's meant to open. There are times when we feel trapped between the past and the place we sense God is leading us. You look forward and all you see is the unknown. You feel in your spirit that something greater is waiting, but the door feels distant. The pressure starts to build, the pressure to act, to take matters into your own hands, to force something to happen. But I want to remind you of something powerful today. You don't have to make it happen. God is already moving on your behalf, even when your eyes cannot perceive it. Even in the silence, He is working. He is arranging the details. He is crafting a path forward for you. At times, we become so consumed by the waiting that we lose sight of this truth. God is never idle in our lives. He is the author of time itself. He has already stepped into your future. and mapped out the journey. He knows every single step you'll take before your foot even touches the ground. So when you find yourself standing in front of the door, don't let the stillness shake your faith. Don't let the waiting make you feel hopeless. The quiet you're experiencing is not abandonment. It's the quiet confirmation that God is moving in unseen ways. He's preparing situations, placing people, and arranging every detail for what lies ahead. There's deep peace in realizing that God's timing is always flawless. And that peace makes it possible to rest even when the outcome is unclear. When we begin to trust Him completely, we release the pressure of trying to make everything happen on our own. We stop forcing, we stop controlling, and we begin to rest. It's in that stillness that God does His most powerful work. Think about this. A seed buried in the soil doesn't fight to grow. It doesn't worry about the rain or sun or when the harvest will come. It simply rests, knowing that when the time is right, it will break through the earth and bear fruit. That's the kind of trust God wants from us. A faith that declares, Lord, I trust you. I believe that the door you've chosen for me will open at the right moment. I may not see it now, but I believe you're already making a way. And I am confident that you will finish what you started in me. We often overlook the fact that the journey matters as much as the destination. God doesn't just want to open doors for you. He wants to shape you as you move toward them. He wants to strengthen your spirit, grow your faith, and deepen your reliance on Him. So if you're standing before a door that won't move, I urge you, stop trying to force your way in. Stop exhausting yourself by pushing where God has said not yet. That closed door has purpose. It may feel like a barrier, but it's really a divine moment to press into God, to draw near to His heart, and to place your trust in His perfect ability to open the right door at the right time. Always remember, closed doors are not final rejections. They're holy redirections, pointing you towards something far greater. You may not understand it now, but God sees the full picture. One of the most profound parts of walking by faith is the ability to see beyond what's right in front of you. It's easy to focus on the present moment, the locked doors, the disappointments, the delays. But the kind of faith God calls us to walk in is a faith that looks beyond what we can currently see. It's the kind of belief that understands every door that remains closed is guiding you one step closer to the door that leads to your purpose. It's the faith that perceives the invisible, that trusts God is moving even when the results have not yet appeared. This is where many stumble. They stop trusting right before the answer arrives. They lose hope when reality doesn't match their expectations. But hear me, God is operating in ways beyond your understanding. He is working behind the scenes, weaving together each moment of your life, arranging every detail and aligning the timing for your good. When your heart is anchored in Him, your vision begins to change. You stop seeing closed doors as dead ends. You start seeing them as tools for growth. You begin to recognize delays as divine appointments. Setbacks become the preparation for the next open door. God will never lead you somewhere and then leave you stranded. If a door is closed, it's because He's preparing a better one. God is not the author of confusion. He is a God who brings clarity, a God who acts with intention. And every door He opens is one that leads you deeper into the plans He's already written for your life. Even if the way forward is difficult, even if you can't yet see the direction, you can rest knowing that the one who called you will not leave you behind. He will not fail. You must be willing to trust that the right door will open exactly when it's meant to. Well, you can't control the timing. You can control how you respond. You can decide to rest in his promises. You can decide to trust his goodness. And when you do that, the waiting no longer feels like a burden. It becomes a season of growth. It becomes the time when God stretches your faith, shapes your heart, and equips you for everything he has in store. Let this sink in today. God's promises are not like man's promise. When he declares that he will open a door for you, he will. And once he opens it, no one can close it. No enemy, no opposition, no circumstance can block what God has ordained for your life. What God has spoken over you will come to pass. It may not unfold on your schedule. It might not appear the way you envisioned, but it will be exactly what you need, and it will arrive right on time. So stop stressing, stop forcing, stop questioning. Trust the one who holds your future in his hands. Know that he sees every door, and he knows the one that belongs to you. His timing is flawless, and his plan cannot be shaken. Your role is simple. Trust him, follow him, and wait with faith. When the door opens, step through it with boldness, knowing that you are entering the path God has laid out for your life. And when you reflect on the road behind you, you will recognize that every season, every doorway, every step was a piece of his perfect design to lead you into the fullness of his promise. In those moments when doubt creeps in, when the weight of life presses down from all directions, I want you to hold on to this truth. God has never abandoned you. Even when the door hasn't opened yet, he is still near. He is still active, even in the stillness. We live in a world that craves instant result, a culture that views waiting as a weakness, a society that pushes us to constantly be accomplishing, producing, proving our worth. But in the kingdom of God, waiting is not weakness, it is faith. Waiting on the Lord is not idleness. It is learning to rest in the confidence that he knows exactly what he is doing. His ways are higher than ours. His thoughts reach further than our own. And when we choose to wait on him, we're choosing to believe that he's arranging something far greater than anything we can yet comprehend. I know the waiting is painful. I know the questions still echo in your heart. But in waiting on God, you allow his divine timing to unfold. And I promise you, it will be far more beautiful than anything you could have planned with your own hands. Consider the Israelites in the wilderness. There must have been moments when they questioned whether God still remembered them. Decades before they experienced their own linen blew off some 5.5 hours early before they received their birthday gift. But God never left them. He was leading them, covering them, preparing them for the moment he would open the door to the land he had promised. It didn't happen when they thought it would. It didn't happen how they imagined. But at the right time, God brought them into the promise he had spoken over their lives. Maybe your current season feels like a desert. But don't confuse the silence with absence. God is using this time to refine you, to strengthen your trust, to prepare you for the greatness that's ahead. When the door opens, every mile of the journey will have been worth it. Every tear you cried, every prayer you whispered, every question you carried, God has been using it to form you, to shape your heart, to prepare you for the blessing that's about to unfold. Because when God opens the door He has chosen for you, it's not just about the opportunity waiting on the other side. It's about who you become in the process of getting there. God is always more interested in your growth than your ease. His goal is not simply to give you what you want, but to form you into the person He designed you to be. When you find yourself standing in front of the door, don't fix your eyes solely on what lies beyond it. Pay attention to what God is doing within you while you wait. Notice how He is molding your character, stretching your patience, and strengthening your faith. Believe with certainty that God knows exactly which door belongs to you. He sees the road ahead, and He is faithful to lead you through it, one step at a time. The real challenge, my friends, isn't in the waiting, it's in the trusting. It's simple to believe in God's goodness when everything is unfolding just as we hoped. It's easy to have confidence when every door is open and the path seems straightforward. But genuine faith is forged in the silence. It's shaped when we don't know what's next. It's purified when we can't understand why things aren't going the way we thought they would. And today I remind you, you serve a God who sees the full story, a God who is not restricted by human timelines. He knows the future, and He will guide you to the door that was custom made for your life. And when that door opens, it won't lead to confusion or regret. It will be a door of destiny. A door that leads you straight into the center of God's perfect plan. You may not see the full picture now, but trust that in His perfect timing, it will all make sense. You might be wondering why so many doors have remained shut. You may question why certain paths never opened. But I assure you, God's plan is far greater than your temporary disappointment. His vision for your life surpasses any failed opportunity or unmet expectation. Every closed door, every delay, every moment that didn't make sense was a part of His divine direction, leading you to the door that truly belongs to you. And when that door opens, do not fear to walk through it. Don't pause, don't hesitate, don't allow doubt to creep in. God will unlock the door, but He won't force you through it. He calls you to move forward with boldness, to walk in the confidence of the one who has already gone ahead and cleared the way. Always remember, God's timing is flawless, and His provision has no limit. When He opens the door, it's because He's already made the path ready, and everything you need is waiting for you. That door won't be for you to enter with fear or hesitation. It's meant for you to walk through with assurance, knowing you're stepping right into the place God intended for you all along. And as you pass through it, you'll realize that what lies ahead isn't just a road of new possibilities, it's a path of divine purpose. It's a journey where God will move through you in ways beyond what you ever imagined. And this, my friends, is the beauty of living by faith. We won't always have a full understanding of the road before us. We may not always recognize which doors are about to open. But when we place our trust in God, we can rest in the truth that He has already made the way. He has already unlocked the door that will bring us into the fullness of His design. And when that moment arrives, when you step into the new chapter set before you, you'll be able to look back and realize that every step, every pause, every door that didn't open, every season of waiting was part of God's perfect plan for your life. So today, I urge you, stop worrying, stop forcing, stop trying to control what only God can do. The right door will open at exactly the right time. Believe that God knows which door is assigned to you. And when the moment comes, He will make it unmistakably clear. Until that time comes, find rest in knowing that He is working, even when you don't see the evidence. And hold tightly to this truth: God's best is always worth waiting for. Life often brings seasons where the way forward feels hidden in uncertainty. We look at our lives and wonder how anything could possibly shift. We've all stood there facing what feels like an immovable wall of unanswered prayers and unmet hopes. But let me remind you today, God is not surprised by your doubt or uncertainty. He's not in heaven panicking or unsure about how to handle your situation. No, our God is sovereign. He already knows what you need, when you'll need it. The world we live in chases the immediate, the quick fix, the instant result. We are pushed to expect fast solutions, to move quickly past the pain and to find the next best thing. But God's ways are not built on speed. His plans are anchored in deep and unwavering wisdom. He knows that if He were to give us everything we desire without shaping our hearts first, we would miss the entire purpose of the process. You might think you know what's best for you, but trust me, God's plan for your life is greater than anything you could imagine. When God brings you to a door, it's not just about what lies behind it. It's about preparing you for what's beyond it. That door, when it finally opens, won't just be another chance or opportunity. It will reflect the person God has been forming in you through each challenge, every delay, and every whispered prayer in the quiet hours. It is in the waiting and the not knowing where we learn to trust that God's will is unfolding even when our eyes can't yet see it. Think of Abraham. God called him to leave behind all he knew and walk forward into the unknown. God didn't hand Abraham a detailed itinerary for the journey. He didn't reveal the final destination from the start. No, God simply said, go, and Abraham obeyed. He believed that God would guide his steps even when he couldn't see the full picture. And through that obedience, through unwavering faith, Abraham became the father of many nations. The door God opened for him wasn't just an entrance into a new territory. It was the beginning of God's covenant being fulfilled. It was a door that shifted the course of history. The same principle applies to you. The door that God is preparing for you is not simply a chance for personal achievement. It is an entryway that will influence the lives of many. When you walk through the door God has chosen, it's not only about your comfort, your promotion, or your advance. It's about stepping into the assignment He placed within you, a purpose far beyond what your mind can currently grasp. God is positioning you not only to walk into blessing, but to become a channel of that blessing for others. Yet there's something important we must hold on to. God's doors do not open according to our timeline. And that truth can be difficult for us to embrace. We live in a culture driven by urgency and instant results. We crave answers now. We want solutions without delay. But God's timing is flawless and always right on schedule. He sees the full canvas. He knows the details we can't see. He knows what you truly need and precisely when you need it. And He is never late. The very waiting you resist may be the very process God is using to prepare you for the blessing that's ahead. If you're standing in front of a door that hasn't yet opened, wondering what's holding it closed, I encourage you not to lose heart. Don't let disappointment cloud your hope. Instead, stand firm in the assurance that there is a door designed specifically for you. And when the appointed time arrives, God will open it. It may not happen the way you imagine. It may not unfold according to your schedule. But I assure you, it will be greater than anything you could have constructed on your own. The door God opens will line perfectly with His purpose for your life. And let me remind you, when that door finally opens, it is not the moment to pull back in hesitation. It is the time to step forward in courage and trust, knowing that the same God who brought you this far will walk with you through that door. You may feel unprepared. You may feel like you're not enough. But God doesn't wait for the qualified. He equips those He calls. He doesn't choose you based on what you can do. He chooses you because of what He can do through you. The strength required to walk through that door does not come from yourself. It flows from Him alone. When you enter that door, you are not relying on your own might. You are walking forward in His power. Now is the time, my friends, to stop letting doubt keep you frozen. It's time to stop letting fear block the way to what God wants to accomplish in your life. I understand it's not easy. I know the journey can be rough. But I also know without a doubt, God is faithful. He will bring you to the right door, and when you step through, He will supply everything you need to complete the purpose He's given you. The world might try to convince you that you need to have every detail under control, that success means mastering every part of your life. But the truth is, real peace comes when you surrender to God's direction, when you place your trust in His timing, not your own. That's when He opens doors that no one else can close. God isn't asking you to manage it all. He's asking you to trust Him with it all. He's inviting you to lay down your grip on control and embrace the freedom that comes with trusting His will. And when you stop trying to make things happen on your own, you'll discover just how much better His plan is than anything you could have imagined. His ways are beyond ours. His timing is always on point. His love for you is beyond measure. So I encourage you today, stop stressing, stop striving, stop chasing things that were never meant for you. Trust that God knows exactly which door is yours, and when the moment is right, He will unlock it. Until then, walk confidently in the truth that He is with you, guiding every step, and His purpose for your life is far greater than anything you could dream of. The door is coming, and when it opens, you will see that the waiting was never in vain. Trust Him, because He will never fail you. As we stand in this moment, I want you to grasp one powerful truth with your whole heart. The God who called you is faithful. And the same God who walked beside you through every difficulty, every victory, every unknown season is the God who will carry you through to the very end. His word never falters. His love never changes. You may not see the full path today. You may not understand the closed doors or the delays, but be certain of this: He is working even now. He is shaping your life, refining your heart, preparing you for the greatness He's already set in motion. So I urge you, let go of fear, release the doubt, and trust the one who holds your future and knows exactly what He's doing. The door you've been waiting for is coming, but it will appear according to God's perfect timing, not your own. It'll be the door that matches His will and aligns with His greater purpose for your life. And when that door opens, when it swings wide before you, will you walk through it with courage, with faith, and with the assurance that you are stepping not by your own strength, but through his power. I encourage you today to make a choice. Stop pursuing doors that God has not called you to. Stop trying to push your way into places and opportunities that were never meant for you. Instead, receive the peace that comes from surrendering to his design. Embrace the patience that grows from knowing he is doing a deep work within you. And when that door finally opens, be certain it will lead to something greater than you ever imagined. You were not created to settle. You were not created to drift without direction. You were made with purpose, an eternal purpose that God himself has already set in motion. Don't let fear talk you out of that purpose. Don't allow doubt to rob you of the destiny God has prepared. Whatever doors stand before you today, whatever barriers appear immovable, remember this: God knows exactly which door belongs to you, and he will open it. And when he does, you will walk into a future filled with promise, covered in blessing, and surrounded by the power of his presence. So today, my friend, step forward with faith. Trust that God is leading your steps. Trust that the right door is waiting in his timing. And when it opens, move forward boldly into the life he has prepared just for you. Your story is not finished. It's only beginning. Believe in the process. Trust his timing. And above all, trust him. Right now, make the choice to place your whole life in the hands of the one who holds every key. And as you do, you'll begin to see that the best is still ahead of you. Walk by faith. Walk with intention. Walk knowing that the God who holds your door will never leave you and will never fail you. Now go, knowing he is making a way even now as you move forward through the doors he's already opened. Trust him, because his plan for you is far more extraordinary than anything you could ever design on your own. My beloved friends, if there has ever been a moment to hear the voice of God, it is this moment. If there has ever been a generation desperate for divine intervention, it is us. We awaken each day to a world weighed down by fear, restlessness, confusion, betrayal, and a deep craving for something eternal. And I say this to you today, not as mere encouragement, not as an optimistic idea, but with a burning sense of urgency. Begin your morning with Psalm 142. This is no trivial matter. This is not about tradition or shallow devotion. This is about your spiritual survival. This is about breaking chains. This is about starting your morning by raising your voice, just as David did when he cried out from the cave. He said, I cried unto the Lord with my voice. With my voice unto the Lord did I make my supplication. That wasn't a whisper. That wasn't a quiet, composed prayer. That was the voice of a man who had come to the end of his rope. A man pursued, abandoned, left alone by people, but not by God. David was in a cave. Not in a royal hall. Not in a sanctuary, but in a cold, desolate place, where the cry of his soul drowned out the noise of his enemies. And was in that moment, in that darkness, that he made a decision that would alter his future. He chose to call upon the Lord. Let me ask you this. What do you do when morning comes, but your soul still feels like it's trapped in the night? What do you do when the alarm rings, but your spirit refuses to rise? What do you do when the world demands you to show up, smile, and perform, while inwardly you are still hiding in the cave? You do what David did. You cry out. You turn to Psalm 142 and declare, Lord, I need you now. This psalm is not just poetic words. It's a compass for the weary soul. David said, when my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then thou knewest my path. Listen to me. God sees the road you can't yet find. God understands the route through the pressure, the heartache, the betrayal. When disappointment presses down on your chest, when anxiety steals your breath and you feel paralyzed, God whispers, I know the path. You may feel surrounded. You may think there's no exit. The weight of responsibilities, the pressure from people, the sting of old wounds, they gather around you like enemies in the dark. But the same God who pulled David out of that cave is the same God who will lead you out too. Every day you wake up, you step onto a spiritual battlefield, and your first decision is critical. Some begin the day in fear. Some rise with resentment. Others carry yesterday's sorrow. But you, child of the Most High, must begin with a cry to heaven. You must enter the day declaring, I will raise my voice to the Lord. I will not walk into this morning empty. I will not take another step in my own strength. Begin with Psalm 142 because it reorients your heart. It reminds you that you are not abandoned in the shadows. It shows you that the presence of God isn't confined to temples or mountaintops, but is most powerful in the secret broken places. David said, I poured out my complaint before him. I laid out my trouble before him. He didn't filter it. He didn't hide it behind polished phrases. He didn't pretend everything was fine. He let it all out. Oh, if we could only learn to empty our hearts before the Lord first thing in the morning, before we scroll through our phones, before we check messages, before we even take that first sip of coffee. If only we would choose to pour ourselves out before God. There is power when a child of God chooses to be raw in the presence of the Holy One. There is restoration when you come before him and say, Lord, here's what I'm holding on to. Here's the weight I'm dragging. Here's the fear I can't shake. Here's the confusion I can't sort. God is not after your performance. He desires your outcry. He wants the sound of your real voice. He wants the honesty of your real pain. David cried, attend unto my cry, for I am brought very low. Have you ever been that low? Not just weary, not just discouraged, but the kind of low where you can't even describe your pain to anyone. You laugh in public, but inside you feel like you're fading. You serve others while silently bleeding. Let me assure you, this is the exact place where God draws close. He stays near to the brokenhearted. He pays attention to those who are crushed in spirit. When you feel like you're suffocating, God is not distant. He is present. That's why Psalm 142 must be the beginning of your day. It resets your atmosphere. It changes the inner climate. It destroys the lie of silence. The enemy would love for you to stay quiet in your cave. He wants you to believe that your voice doesn't matter, that no one is listening. But the moment you truly cry out, all of heaven leans in and all of hell shudders. When you lift your voice to God, you remind every dark force that you still belong to the King. You remind yourself that it does not rule over you. You proclaim that no cave, no shadow, no wound, and no pressure gets the final word in your story. Begin each day with Psalm 142, because in that cry from the cave you'll find perspective. David declared, thou knewest my path. You may not have clarity on your next move. You may not understand what today will bring. But God does. He already sees the way through. And when you cry out, you begin to hear his voice. You begin to recognize his leading. Your vision sharpens. Your spirit aligns. The world throws noise at you in the morning, but Psalm 142 brings you back to your purpose. It gives you guidance when everything else tries to pull you in different directions. The world brings confusion, but God brings focus. You must make a choice. You have to determine, will I start my day absorbing the world's noise, or will I rise and call upon the one who delivers? David declared, refuge failed me. No man cared for my soul. I want to speak to the one who feels invisible. You gave everything. You loved deeply. You served faithfully. You showed up consistently. But when the time came for support, no one came through. David understands that ache. Jesus understands that sorrow. But that's not where the story ends, because David continues, I cried unto thee, O Lord, I said, thou art my refuge and my portion in the land of the living. Did you hear that? Refuge let him down, people walked away. But God became enough. Well, you begin your day with Psalm 142, you are making a bold statement. Lord, you are my portion. I am not defined by applause. I don't need worldly recognition. I have you, and that is more than enough. When the Lord is your portion, you are not lacking. When he is your portion, you can be hidden away in a cave and still carry peace. You can be cast aside and still hold on to joy. You can be misunderstood and still move with boldness. Why? Because your life is anchored in something eternal, not in the waves of circumstance. That's what this psalm uncovers. It opens the door to the heart of a man who had every reason to quit, but instead he chose to seek God. He chose to lift his voice. And that same invitation is extended to you today. Before you greet the day, before you speak a word to anyone else, speak to him. Cry out in your quiet place. Unload your heart. Speak your truth to the Lord. And then rise up with fresh strength. You are not beyond hope. You are not beyond healing. You are not beyond help. Psalm 142 proves that God meets us at rock bottom. He doesn't wait for you to put on a smile. He doesn't require that you have it all together. He responds to your cry. He runs toward your voice. And when you cry out, shackles fall. Fear begins to loosen. Fog starts to clear. Because when the presence of God enters your cave, everything begins to shift. So let me ask you, what would your life look like if every day, without exception, you began like David? Not just when you felt emotional, not just on Sunday morning, but each day calling out to the Lord, opening your heart, naming him as your shelter. You would carry yourself differently. You would speak with more grace. You would think with more clarity. The news wouldn't rattle you. Fear wouldn't steer you, because your life would be grounded